remaining, and red is let's finish up. And the first question is coming from Mike Bossio, please.
Thank you so much for being here, Jeannette. I don't know, I doubt you'll remember, but we actually met in 2014. You were at the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte for the Restorative Justice for Native Women's Association Symposium that I happened to be at, and I heard your full story. Your daughter was with you at the time, I believe. Actually, it's the book that I'm actually writing in right now that we received that day. Funny enough, and so yeah, your story was beautifully told that day. It was touching, and it was my first real introduction to that history of Indigenous women and the injustice that occurred and is still occurring. This is such a complex issue, as has been raised by many different people, and I look at it, and I know some people are saying, we should go back to the courts and we should ask for an extension, and because we need more time to study this. And I don't think anybody disagrees that we need more time. We absolutely need more time. But right now we have an opportunity to add up to 35,000 people to that status. And in an extension for more time, I mean, we all recognize that the Indian Act is the fault. We're putting, as Chief Bellegarde said, we're putting a Band-Aid on a large cut, and I don't think anybody would deny that. But that has been and continues to be a generational evolutionary change. And I look and I say we have an opportunity to add 35,000, or we can fix them. We can add hundreds of thousands, but how long is that going to take? Not even just getting it through the courts to get that recognized, or getting it through consent and negotiation and to get it recognized, but also even just to prepare for that outcome as well. Right now in my community, it takes 2 years for a Mohawk to get a status. How long is it going to take if today we add hundreds of thousands to that number, and let alone health, housing, land, as Chief Bellegarde pointed out. Land is a huge issue. I mean, I know in my community, once again, the Mohawks of Bay of Quinte are on you were there. It's a small piece of land. In order to add a lot more people to it. So I guess I would ask you for your opinion. Do we need to make this a multi-stage process so that yes, we can get it right, we can finally get it dealt with, hopefully finally deal with the Indian Act once and for all, but that is going to, in my view, take time, but I'd like to know your opinion. Both of you.
Well, just listening to the previous presenters, my own experience, and I'm just speaking, from what I think would be best for people, like within our communities, is that if we can make a change now, or February, and bring that recognition to those people, to me that is good. Because when in 1985, when we were reinstated, it was major. You just felt it, and my children getting their status. It made a big difference. So it will have a tremendous impact on those, would you say, 35,000 members who may be affected as part of that. And it will boost them, their sense of identity, their recognition of their family, their history. All that is really important, because we're striving for nationhood. And nationhood definitely has to have land, has to have people. And if we continue the way we are within the Indian Act, and that was pointed out, there's a reserve right now in Ontario, Skookog. I think 2013, they had their last status Indian. What's going to happen to that community? So changes do have to be made. And that's what we were talking about within our Anishinaabe Nation citizenship law, is that we want to recognize all those members who can trace their descendancy And the Grand Chief and all the chiefs within our nation have agreed to it. It's the only way we can see that we can continue to be a strong nation, that we'll be able to go forward, that we can maintain our language, have our history, our spirituality. All that is key. And if we're going to be recognized as on a nation-to-nation basis to be dealing with the government, we have to have that strong basis, and that's what we're striving for. So I can see, like Grand Chief Pat, he said, recognizing your deadline is February. However, we will continue to work with the government because we've already started it. And we have that knowledge, the expertise. We can do that contact out to our communities, bring the elders in. They still have that history. And they'll be able to tell us, yes, this is what happened, in those times when those treaties that were signed. That's all really important. But I think, and I don't think I can say on behalf of our Grand Chief Pat Madabi, but I think that you should do it in February, and it will make a positive change.